I used to think something was so wrong with me. I could not stay in one lane. I couldn't just pick a thing and go deep. Every time I tried, my brain would, pull me sideways. I mean, I had the ability to go deep, but only on things that I was interested in, right? But I'd eventually reach a point where I felt like I got enough from the field that I didn't need more from the field, right? So I got pulled into a different field, a different idea, a connection that nobody else seemed to see. Teachers, they looked at me sideways for it. It felt like they were punishing me for it. Colleagues thought I was trying to show off. Even my own family, thought I was scattered. And it turns out there's a name for this. It's called cross-domain intuition, and it's not a deficit. It's a specific kind of intelligence. It's the ability to go deep enough across multiple fields that you start seeing how they connect and to pull answers from one domain and apply them somewhere completely different. Einstein did it. He was he was not just a physicist. He was obsessed with music and philosophy and thought experiments that had nothing to do with equations. The connections he made came from outside the field he was solving problems in. That's not distraction, that's the mechanism. And I've just always been doing this since I was born. I just had no idea it was a thing. I've just always been told I was scattered and I couldn't focus and I had ADHD and all of these things that just really impacted me as a young kid. And when you don't have a name for how your mind works and you have the world telling you that there's something wrong with your mind, you can spend your entire life apologizing for it. So um, you follow one expert, and it just almost feels like you're getting dumber because your intelligence isn't single threaded. It runs across 10 inputs at once, gathering, connecting, synthesizing. Cut that down to one source, and you don't feel focused. You feel trapped. I used to bring in and still do multiple experts, multiple perspectives, multiple fields. And a part of this was because, I lacked confidence and I lacked confidence in myself and felt like I had a lack of agency, right? Um, but what I'm realizing now is that's just how my thinking works. And every time that got dismissed or shut down, it didn't just frustrate me. It quite literally feels like my soul is getting crushed because the thing being denied was not my opinion. It was how I learned. It was my operating system. And here's what changed when I finally had the language for it. I stopped, because this literally happened this morning. I just found out talking to Claude that, the way I learned is through cross-domain intuition, and that's the term for it. You can Google it and look it up. And now it's relieved a lot of pressure. I no longer look for the right opportunity and am worried about, I used to be so worried about, oh, is this going to take me where I want to go? And I'm just not concerned with that anymore because now the right opportunity is not the point. The thing that I'm actually doing now without, knowing it because there's no pressure is learning widely, deeply across everything that is, just lights me up, like physics and philosophy and sales and human behavior and consciousness and business. And I always had that quiet fear that it just wouldn't add up to anything, that I needed to pick one and commit or I'd end up with nothing. Like that's just what I've been told, right? And that's what I see, right? But cross-domain intuition doesn't work like that. It compounds, right? Every new domain you go deep on makes every other domain richer. The connections multiply. Like the pattern recognition gets sharper. It quite literally feels like my intelligence is increasing over time. And it's just a message to me and people that this is resonating with. You don't need to find the right opportunity. You need to trust that the learning is the work and that the opportunity will find you when the pattern is ready to be seen. So if you spent your whole life being told that you're scattered and that you can't focus and that you have this disorder or a disability, you know, just focus and pick something and stop connecting everything to everything. This doesn't make any sense. I don't see what you mean. The problem is not your focus. You're just running a different operating system than the people telling you that. And when you realize this, you'll realize that you no longer need to apologize for it. And you'll just understand that the way these people think and the way you think is different.